Pleased to be joined now by UFC heavyweight contender Jamal Pogues, who was victorious over Thomas the Train Peterson this past weekend in Las Vegas. Jamal, how are you, sir?
I'm good, sir. Can't complain.
I think you might be able to complain. You got kicked low in this fight. You got poked in the eye in the final few moments. First off, what was the low blow like? Because it seems like athletes sometimes they try to get back to fighting almost quicker than they should sometimes. And I kind of thought maybe that was the case when you started upon the restart. You were still kind of holding the jewels a little bit low. Like, did you want to
Yeah.
get back quickly, or did you rush yourself?
I mean, you can say I rushed myself coming back. Everybody thinks like well, I know some people try to take any easy way out, I guess you want to say. But, I feel like in my mind, like when I go in there and that happens, it's like I just want to hurry up and get back. I don't want to like look, I just don't want people to think like, oh, he's just milking it. But no, did it still hurt? Yes. But then, like as the fight continued, eventually it goes away. But I mean, I try not to take too much time, and I also think about like my opponent. I don't want him to get his breathing back.
Right.
I don't want him to get no more rest as much as he needs. So it's always that 50-50 for me.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. I think people really don't realize like how cold one can get during that time. You cool off a little bit, then you almost have to go through a warm up process all over again.
Every time, every single time. You take the break, you want to get back in there, especially, if we want to continue with the eye poke. I think I was just now starting to get like a little bit more energy, like a third win, and I was like, oh, let's go, let's go. And then the eye poke happened, and then it slowed down the momentum. So it definitely changes, like, like I ain't gonna say the outcome of the fight, but it definitely, definitely plays a big factor of what could have happened, possibly happened. But, I'm still happy I got the win.
You did get the win. You earned it 29-28 across two scorecards, 130-27, all in your favor. Watching the fight back in between rounds 1 and 2, you sat down on the stool and John Woods said to you that you won the round, and you seemed to be not so sure about whether or not you took that first frame. Tell me about your mindset after that first round, because it seemed like you needed to be convinced that you took the scorecard there.
It's I know how the judges score. They'll forget about what you did in the whole round and they'll just remember the last few moments, and some judges heavy on wrestling more than stand up. Some judges, judge stand up more than, wrestling. So I just knew, like I said, oh, he stole that round. Like that's the first thing I said to myself. He stole the round. Understand how the judge, my coaches may feel as the overall round happened. Like for 4 minutes, I won the round, but then the minute, he took it. But I always remember, like, it's the lasting impression. That's what the judges remember.
It is true, especially when there are breaks. I think in a fight, whether it be for a low blow or an eye poke, it seems like 5 minutes is a long time. I'm a guy who struggles with holding my attention, but judges seem to be even more so. Where if you win the first 3 minutes of a round, it kind of goes by the wayside because they seem to only remember the last 90 seconds sometimes.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the bad things I hate about judging, you should say. I feel like it should be the whole round, but knowing that and going in there, us fighters should do better knowing that and actually try to do better. I think about when I think about my teammate Robert Hernandez back home, he fought Trevin Jones, Cage Warriors, and he kept allowing my teammate to get the takedown, take his back, and everything towards the last minute of each round. And I feel like that kind of sealed him the win. And props to him. But it's just knowing that in this sport, you should know that it's how you leave the round to these judges.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned something, the term "steal the round." I think that is something that a lot of people tend to do, or at least attempt to do, with the takedown in the latter stages. And you got good fight IQ. I think that's it's smart to be sort of, obviously you want to get the win, but you got to fight with the
Hmm.
judges in mind. And you had a tough opponent in front of you. Thomas Peterson's a guy that has some bully tactics. Will try to wrestle people to the floor at all costs. How important was, the game plan of hurting him at space and making sure that he wasn't able to sort of, get that locomotive going where he was taking you down and holding you there?
It was a big factor, but my team, you always say like whatever I want to do, if I want to wrestle, if I want to stand up, I can do whatever I want to do. But for this one, I felt like I needed to prove myself, for this fight. And I think John Wood made a really good point going into the second round. He was like, He doesn't want to stay on the outside with you. Keep him at distance. Don't go past the black line. That's what he told me. Do not go past the black line. If you see it, move out. He's not going to shoot in the middle. He's not going to shoot in the middle. He's like he's not going to shoot in the middle. You're too dangerous. So, and I think that was one of the best judgment, and then things he told me leading on from the second and third round. Do not pass that black line. And as the fight continued, I started to realize like when I stayed towards the middle, or if I didn't go past that black line, he had a hard problem trying to shoot.
Yeah, Jon is one of the best strategists in the game. But I think that what separates mid-level mixed martial artists from high-level MMA fighters is the ability to make that adjustment in game plan along the way. The old saying, Mike Tyson said, everyone's got a game plan until they get punched in the face. I think everybody has a game plan, but it's a game plan that constantly needs to evolve. And it seems like you work well with Jon about getting some information early on in the fight, going back to your corner, and then making those adjustments on the fly. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of people seen it when I was with Joe Daddy Stevenson back home and my first contenders, and people saw how me and him clicked, and me and Jon, and I even told him in the back, I hit him kind of hard, but not like thinking about it, like on the back, I like hit his chest, like good fucking call, but it was more so, he made like you said, those little adjustments going in between each round, and. And it was just like I was just attentive. If you really rewatch the fight, you see me that I'm talking to him. I'm not talking to Thomas. I'm actually talking to him, and it was just one of those things where we were just so locked in, for the fight. And then, he told me little things. I'm like, yes, sir, yes, we're doing this. I know, I see it. And then we just had conversation together. So it was, I think that's what I loved about that fight was me and Jon did have like a good connection. Obviously, I have to be the one to do it, but just those little things he made on the fly kind of helped me out because I didn't see him.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is very much a team sport, even though if you're the one in there by yourself, those adjustments can be made. And I always feel bad for cornermen, though, because they're playing the game, but they don't even have a controller. You know what I mean? They're just hoping that you can carry out their requests. And obviously you did that.
Yeah, it's just, I was grateful. But I gave him big props. Definitely gave him big props because I was trying to figure it out myself while I was in there in the first round. I was trying to figure certain things out. And then, he tells me, I'm like, okay, cool. Thank you. Good call. Like, just good call, Then, I was like, thank you for that. And I feel like, to me, that was like one of the biggest calls or the biggest things I needed, for that fight.
Let's talk about you a little bit in your journey here in mixed martial arts. You're 2-1 in the UFC. You mentioned the Contender Series experience. Not too many people have multiple wins in the Contender Series. You are a man who has benefited from that platform. But outside the octagon, it was briefly hit on. Obviously, I'm not in the fighter meetings, but Laura Sanko said that you had adopted your cousin's kids. Is that true?
Yeah, one of my biggest breaks that you'll see in between, I think it's 2020 to 2022, a lot of personal things. My family had a lot of problems in the sense my cousin, her kids. So, I ended up taking on two of her kids. Now one's 19, the other one's 14, but at the time one was 11, another one was 16. So, you basically at around that time as everything was going on, fighting was slowing down, COVID happened, all these things were going on. So it just allowed me to take away from the sport and just kind of raise them a little bit, not just get to know them. I just felt like I was the best guy for the job. I knew everything they were going through. I've been there. I lived that life. I know how it is to have a destructive household. So for me, it gave me that time to really, I guess, not say be a parent, but kind of give back to what wasn't given to me, and I was like, that's why I took him on. I was like, hey, no one's gonna do this better than me. And that's kind of how I felt. I still feel the same way, and they still have to learn and grow, but in a sense, I knew I could reach them on a deeper level, and reach out to them and talk to them so they can understand the emotions, the feelings. And, a lot of us didn't have like people who to talk to who can understand us. So I felt like that was like one of the good blessings that I had, in life because it helped me mature fast. I couldn't be a kid no more. I'm 25 going buck wild partying, but then at 25 it's like, no, you got kids. Like you can't go out and get drunk. I think the first day I had them,
Yeah.
I was out partying. Like I was like out partying, and he was like, "Yo, are you gonna come back and cook? Like we're hungry." And I was like, "Oh shit, yo, I gotta go, everybody." Like, but like it wasn't that I forgot him. It's just I'm so used to being by myself.
Right.
and doing whatever I want to do. So it was that little moment where I was like, oh no, you're not gonna fuck up. You're not gonna do this. You need to let a lot of this stuff go. So I think they played a big part of my maturity of me finally entering the UFC.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people don't realize it doesn't matter if you're 20 or if you're 30. When you're raising kids, you're going to grow up quite quickly yourself. You're forced to. And heck, Jamal, a lot of people I think would rather get into a cage fight than take on two kids, one a preteen and one a teenager. I mean, that's a step up to say the least.
It was scary. It was scary. I can definitely tell you, it made fighting a lot easier. I can tell you that much. I definitely had problems in the beginning in the sense of financial reasons, and then as well just me as a person, and I definitely feel like when I finally did enter the octagon again after 2 years, I was like, oh, this is not as nearly as scary as raising two boys. Like, this is easy, but I mean, it's still hard of a job, but it just, I just realized how much I've grown mentally compared to where I was before. So entering the fights now, it's like, it's a different feeling, it's a different maturity. And it's just like, would I tell anyone to take on kids that's not their own or whatever the case may be? I wouldn't say do it because it's not for everyone. But if you have an opportunity to do so, I would definitely say you should take it.
Well, you're definitely, being a good role model doing that. And then obviously, pursuing one of the hardest careers one can in sports. So far, so good. Big win over Thomas Peterson. What is next for you, Jamal? Any idea on when you might be able to get back in the octagon?
I was looking around June or July. Come back around summertime. It's a lot of things I'm going to get ready to work on, and that I feel like I should improve on. One is definitely going to be my weight. Controlling that, getting that under the way. Like I said, I got no excuses. I know I work full time and I fight, but it's going to be no more excuses. I can't use the job as an excuse. Like I don't have enough time. So I'll definitely next week I go back with the nutritionist Don at the PI. We're gonna start game planning, putting everything in control. Like she said, this week have fun, relax, heal up. I do have a few injuries, even though it don't look like it, from the fight, but just little nicks in there.
Right.
But it's just things that I want to work on before I put myself back out there. Definitely will be the fitness part, but then other than that, it's just June, July. I think should be a good time.
Well, you mentioned the weight. I know you did put on some weight from some of your earlier fights in the UFC. It's not the healthy weight. Is not the weight that you want. Like, what is
No,
your
no,
ideal
no.
fighting weight? You think?
It was funny. Well, I mean, like I said, a lot of it was putting on the strength and the size.
Okay.
A lot of it was putting on the strength and the size with that. The funny part was, they were getting me to eat like 4,000 calories a day, building up into it. And then, I finally felt like I was strong enough and I felt good here. I felt good. And then that was like, but the next part of it was, okay, we did all the bulking and all this stuff, getting ready for this. Now it's like, okay, now let's lean you out,
Got it.
and we put the size, we put the muscle on you. Um, Now let's shed the fat now. And that was one of the biggest things where I'm appreciative. Like I appreciate it so much. And that was one of the biggest things going into fighting Parisian was I did feel a big strength difference. like definitely a big strength difference. So that's one of the things that's just gonna take a while for me to, get used to and accustomed to. Like I said, I was always at 205, so going up to heavyweight is not like a small jump. These guys
Yeah.
spent their whole career heavyweight, where I spent most of my career at 205 or 85. So now me coming up is just it's just a little bit different. Obviously, it's still fighting, but it's me building my size so I can withstand and be able to go, still move and still be light, still be fast, and at the same time, I can withstand some of the punishment that I will receive as well.
Yeah, there is a science to it, man. You think about, like guys at 85 and the jump from 85 to 205 is significant. But I mean, at heavyweight, I mean, you're fighting at, 240 pounds. If you're stepping in there with the guy who's 265 pounds, that's still a 25-pound weight difference. That's multiple weight classes, depending on where you are in the scale of mixed martial arts weight classes. So, yeah, definitely need to sort of fine tune that. And so far, so good, man. You look like a very competent heavyweight who's now getting things going their way. And I can't wait to see your next fight in the UFC and the continued evolution for yourself, sir.
Thank you so much. I'm excited. I know I'm usually calm. I don't really say much like everybody else. I'd rather be that guy who speaks with my actions. And not a guy who wants a big hype. I'd rather stay under the radar for now. Let me stay under the radar. Let me not be as famous. Let me just be whatever, And then when it's time for the big lights or those big moments or that short notice fight, we'll just be ready. We'll put our name in the bucket and see if they pull it. But for now, it's just keep working, keep our head under the radar, just keep getting good training, good looks. I think one of the biggest things, having Khalil in my corner, getting to see some of the things he go through behind the scenes, and then eventually I know I'm gonna be in his position one day. So it's good being around all these people that also my training partners that I've known for so long in the sport, but now I can see the other side. So it also helps me prepare as I'm climbing the ranks.
Awesome, Jamal. Well, thanks for the time. Best of luck moving forward, and hopefully we get a chance to chat before your next fight.
Yes, sir. Take care, sir.